And we're back with another episode of Lour After Hours. Today with us, we have the one and only Stu Gotts. Beep.
Weekend observations.
Stu, what's going on, buddy?
Were you expecting me to do? Well, why are you guys applauding? There are a lot of people on this Zoom. There are too many hosts on this show.
Wait a second.
Kyle, we need to work on your rope in.
This is how many producers you have on your show at any time.
Touche. Fair point. In fact, we have more. You would think the show would be better. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Stu, thanks for joining us. We have been looking forward to getting you on the show basically since we started 3 years ago. And this is a very special episode for us because this is episode number 500.
Wow. 500th episode. We do that a week. I mean,
Step it up.
I will ask you guys, since someone froze up there and, you know, the radio pro has to pick it up. Who froze? Someone froze.
Our actual host did. This is perfect.
He's having some kind of Wi-Fi connection, but we're also finding out that he lives like next to a military base, so this could be kind of affecting this in some sort of way.
This is our blackout.
But he's back now, so we're all ready to go.
You know, you're freezing up.
500th episode,
right?
As Beep was
you know what? Let's just
there.
do this. Beep is freezing up. Pal, you seem like you like to talk a lot, and it's not like you don't bother Stu Gotts once a week on Zoom. So do you want to just take it over? Or Gotts, you're about to ask us a question.
Well, I was. First off, no one is bothering me on Zoom. We are soliciting phone calls.
Yeah.
Pal bothers people.
Yeah. Well, I've been dead since I chose JJ Redick. So
yeah,
I've been trying to resurrect myself and come back to life.
I know, but as a fan of the show, you know me. If it's Bird or Redick, who do you think I'm going with? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you know, a little bit of spice, a little zigging while others are gonna zag. You know, you got to keep it spicy.
Yeah, but you're zigging while we were zagging got you kicked off the show. I mean,
yeah, I died. Yeah. So, but
I was going to ask you guys. You have so you do this. It's your 500th episode. You do one episode per week, right?
Usually two. Yeah.
Sometimes it used to be three, and then we got fired because it wasn't.
So I am wondering, because we have a hard enough time in studio with all the people we have in studio these days, just getting the timing down and just getting all that stuff right. Like, you guys are doing this via Zoom every single week, so you're in different places, different locations. And there's 15 hosts. I'm not joking. It's the largest podcast in terms of hosts that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
How do you guys communicate? Who's doing the editing? Because it has to be a nightmare, and I'm glad it's not Billy. And why did you decide to have 15 hosts? That's all I want to know.
Well, it's a mixture of me and Beep doing the editing,
right?
And in keeping things spicy, having that many hosts typically does that. And there's actually like 30 hosts. We just have half of them here today.
And let's be honest. What makes this really easy now, Gotts, is only 3 of us show up unless we have you as a guest. So it's not like we have that much editing to do here. So
okay, good.
Yeah, we could split it up. We have 3 shows a week that would are split up into teams, in which we still have horrible timing after 3 years, but luckily Beep and Pal have patience.
Did you realize how hard chemistry was to come by, like, pretty quickly?
No, I just talked over everybody, and I didn't.
That's what I did.
Plus, Stu, when we were doing this during the pandemic, no one had anything else to do. So, like, Pablo, Sarah Payne, Mina Kimes, and all of them came on. So, like, we had a lot. It was a lot more. We had just more guests. Like, everybody was showing up because we had big names. And then once the pandemic stopped, we stopped getting all the big guests.
It sounds like you're upset. It sounds like you're upset the pandemic is over. I mean,
we are. Honestly, it's the best thing that ever happened to us.
We could go back
the best
to
thing that ever happened to us.
It was a pandemic.
Well, part of it also, I think, was when the pandemic first started, ESPN didn't care. And so everyone could just come on. And now they they have to ask 2 levels up requests to PR, to this guy, to that guy, what questions you're going to ask. There's a lot more, corporateness to ESPN since the pandemic sort of ended.
We've been trying to get Mikey C on for weeks.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to get Mikey C on for 3 years since we left, and I've been unable to. Like, I've had everyone from ESPN on our show. I've had Scott Van Pelt on, and we just did something with Field Yates, and I have Schefter on all the time and Diana Rossini. But where ESPN draws the line, for whatever reason, Reasons unbeknownst to me, it's at Mikey C. Like, no,
That's the
his
talent you
opinion,
can't have.
they're all ours. I'm like, what? What is happening here? So, but I'm glad you guys are doing it, and you're at your 500th episode. Congratulations, man! That's a milestone.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Celebrate it with our favorite person here too. You know, some of us here went to the School of Broadcasting, so you know we're glad to let that shine here in our 500th episode. But I think to start off this, we're going to go with one Pamela Lace. Okay, over here in Virginia. Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, Stu. Big fan. Was just showing my coworker this morning the video you had to record for me for my birthday because you let my cameo expire for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So Juju forced you to make me a video, which I love and force on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Brought my coworker David in here to ask you a quick question about the NBA Finals.
Okay.
David here is a fraud. So he started with the Lakers, then he took the Celtics, and now he says Nuggets in 6.
Mm-hmm.
I say Heat in 7. Who's right?
Nuggets in 6, Heat in 7. You're both wrong. I have the Heat in 4. And so, and I do that to lesson for all of you because you can't top it. Like, you might want to say Heat in 3, and it might be funny for a second, but we know it can't happen. Listen, I'm not picking against the Heat anymore. Like, I didn't think they beat the Bucks. They beat the Bucks. I didn't think they beat the Celtics. They beat the Celtics. Denver's been the best team in the NBA along with Milwaukee the entire season. They have the one guy who guards Jimmy Butler better than anyone else in the NBA, and Aaron Gordon. And yet the only response, and Dan and I were laughing about this yesterday, the only response I can give you, because all the metrics, everything suggests that Denver's going to win this series and win it fairly easy. The only thing I can give you in terms of an argument for the Heat winning this series is Jimmy Butler. And it's an absurd argument when you consider that Jimmy Butler was considered, he was a guy where if he was your third player like 5 years ago, you had a really, really good team. Now he's being talked about in the same sentence as Kobe, LeBron, and Michael Jordan, which is absurd, by the way. But Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra. So I have the Heat in 4. That's where the Heat have advantages.
Shot for your life, Jimmy Butler or Michael Jordan?
Oh,
stop it.
Congrats to Rachel. Love that for her. Love that for you.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a special moment we had over the weekend. In fact, Billy and I taped with Kelly Amante Hiller, who's Rachel's coach at college, who won her 8th national championship for Northwestern yesterday. I allowed Billy to ask 3 questions at the very end under the umbrella of Billy. This is the person in charge of my child for the next 3 years. And, well, you'll have to listen to see if Rachel still has a scholarship at Northwestern.
Before Mayor's rapid fire. Before Mayor's rapid fire, has Wilbon texted you to congratulate you and your daughter on this nest? Not yet.
No, Wilbon has not. I don't check Twitter as often as I used to, and I certainly don't check my mentions. I just don't. It's an evil place. And so therefore I've eliminated it from my life. So he has not reached out to me directly. I know he has my number. He could have. Here's the other disappointing one, and I will break this exclusively right here on your show.
Don't say it.
Wilbon and we didn't have the relationship. In fact, I think Wilbon probably dislikes me a lot, okay? Because Wilbon is trained for this. He went to school for this. He worked hard at this, and somehow me, who was untrained, didn't go to school for this. We arrived at the exact same place, okay? which is ESPN, and I think he despises me for that. Greeny, however, I consider to be a friend. I have played golf with Mike. Mike comes on my podcast often. I've exchanged, we've had conversations. I've had conversations with Mike's wife, who also went to Northwestern, grew up in Evanston, Illinois. I have not heard from Greeny. And that, I have to be honest, very, very disappointing.
You heard it here. Greeny, horrible friend.
Well, I didn't say that. I just said I'm disappointed in him, And he's a horrible friend.
There it is. Give us the sound.
So yeah, it was and not that I'm keeping count, by the way, of who's reaching out to me and who's not. But it was a great weekend. I hope every parent gets to experience what me and my wife got to experience, which is to really witness just total joy and total bliss from one of your children. And to see her become a national championship and achieve her goals, because it was really fun and emotional. I'm getting emotional now, just kind of thinking back to it. But it was fun. It was emotional. We had a blast. So thank you, Pam. Thank you, all of you.
Yeah, of course.
Does your other child feel jealous of Rachel?
No, that's what made it special, was the fact that I got to sit there with her twin sister Emma, who goes to Syracuse, does not play lacrosse. She majors in partying. And so we had to be able to sit there with her. What was that?
I said it takes after her dad.
You took after her dad, no doubt.
No,
yes.
She takes after you.
100%. Yes. And I'm glad. Even with Rachel, I've always said, hey, it's important to just go be a kid. But Rachel chose the path that she wanted to choose. And so that's really cool. No, but part of what made that so special, a large part, was to be able to experience that with my wife, with Emma, with my dad there, with my aunt there, with my best friend there. All of it made the entire weekend something that we'll never forget. And so I told her, listen, you have 4 years of college. The perfect career is 4 Big Ten championships. You get a ring for each, and 4 natties. You get a ring for each. She'll have 8. That will put her ahead of Jordan. That will put her ahead of everyone. And so, and so she's there. She's 2 for 2. We'll see how the next 3 years go.
Yeah, already one under, or like you said, already got 2 under Ant. Yeah. So we're gonna go to Mayor here with some rapid fire questions. Mayor.
Yeah, Greenberg, a bad friend. That's breaking news. Golick told us that 2 years ago.
Oh, shit.
By the way, what you should do is what you do, Stu, and I'm sure you've already thought about this, is you get a lacrosse national championship lacrosse shirt. You send it to Mike Wilbon. And that way he's going to see it. And he's going to have to open it. And he's going to
have to respond.
So there you go.
So I'm okay with Wilbon not reaching out to me. I got to be honest with you.
Well, just think how much it would irritate him to get that in the mail, too.
Well, listen, I'll take a picture of my ring and I'll send that to him. How about that? Okay?
Make Dan send the shirt.
Send it to Tony.
Here's send it to Tony. Here's where I'll give Wilbon credit, okay? He supports the program and he supports Kelly. Whether he supports me or not, I don't really care. Whether he congratulates me or not, I truly do not care. But he is he went on PTI. He talked about it. I know he did that. I know he's involved with the program. I know he cares about the program. And my daughter's a part of that program. So I don't really care if he reaches out to me. This is not about me. This is all about Rachel. And I know Wilbon supports that thing. I'm not certain if Greeny does. I know if it was a Northwestern football game, he'd be all over it and have every coach on and all the players. But I don't care. Wilbon not reaching out to me, I'm good with that. And if he never reaches out to me again, I'm fine.
We're going to play a quick game. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's going to be Stu Gotts or Stu Knots.
Okay.
Good. So if it's yes, then it's Stu Gotts. If it's no, then it's Stu Knots. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game before.
But I just want you to know that I am stealing this game and playing it on some other platform.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's writing it down. He grabbed the pen and paper.
My gift to you. All right. Question number 1. Being able to tell the difference between Tony Collins and Cassidy Hubbarth.
Stugatz. I mean, that's what Stugatz is all about. Stugatz goes up to Bristol. He feels like he owns the joint. He knows everyone's name. And then he brings Dan and Mike up there. And in an effort to impress them, because he's already been up there and knows all the people, he introduces them to someone, to the wrong person. I mean, it was one of the great days in show history. It really was. And as mad as I was at Mike for that gag that he pulled on me later on with Tony and Cassidy, it's still, I recognize when we're doing a good show and what it takes for us to produce a good show. And I know that my incompetence therefore produced one of the legendary shows in our show history. And I'm okay with that. My incompetence has produced a lot of great shows for us. So I'm good.
Another great show moment. Still adamant that Fruit Loops have different flavors.
Yeah. I mean, some are red and some are
Stu
purple.
Gotts or Stu Knots. That's the way the game's. Stu Gotts or Stu Knots.
Stugotz or Stugotz? Stugotz.
Taking unlimited mulligans and not counting them on the scorecard.
Stugotz.
Preferring a Sunday chicken parm over Sunday sex.
Stugotz. Are you kidding me? I mean, I won't eat all week if I could have sex on Sunday night. Get out of here.
Quietly framing someone else for stealing the fine bucket money, even though you actually did.
Stugotz.
All right, last question here, and this is just open-ended. Shot for your life, Rick Barry or John Havlicek?
Oh, shit. Hondo.
Appreciate the time. Thanks for all the laughs.
You're alive.
No, but am I alive? Like, I think
if you would have said Havlicek, you wouldn't be alive right now. But the fact that you said Hondo saved you.
But what if I went Barry?
Then you still would be alive.
I'd still be alive. All right.
Yeah.
I just listen. I don't want a shot for my life to be underhanded. You know, like
it wouldn't be worth living, even if you made it.
Right. If I'm going to live, I don't want to live like that. Okay. I mean, seriously, underhanded. I like that game though. Stugotz.
Mark, you had.
It's the only reason I agreed to do this is steal all your ideas. Infuriate you when I use them on the show.
We got more coming your way here.
We're counting on it.
You take our hats, our fridges, our printers. It's okay.
All right, Stu. One, thank you for saving the podcast back in the day. It was greatly appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I asked Mark Hawkman this question when he was on, and his answer was he started getting emails about the show asking what people missed. So my question is, when did you know the show was a big deal, different, something people haven't heard before, and is really just, something that you're really proud of, or just what's going to live forever?
No, it's a great question. So I had a different vantage point than everyone else. First off, there were two moments where when Dan started driving the show, because I don't know if all of you listened from day one, but I drove the show for the first year, and Dan and I had zero chemistry. And what it turned into was me just kind of interviewing Dan every single day. But it was called the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. And I remember Boo calling us and saying, hey, rather than guessing what Dan wants to talk about on a daily basis, let Dan just drive the show. And once we made... Now, that takes some work, and Dan needed to get comfortable with doing that because he's, as you guys know, he's a print journalist, or was. And so once Dan started driving the show, and I didn't have to guess what Dan wanted to talk about, and I just got to respond to the things that he was talking about, that freed me up to really be the character that I've kind of turned into and who I really am. And so that was, I would say, a year in, that was a big moment. It's not the moment I realized that we had something special on our hands. It just felt better, than what we were doing. I would say a couple of years after that, and the reason I said I come at it from a different vantage point than Hawk or anyone else is I was the vice president and general manager of the radio station. So I was getting the rating books every 3 months. And back then it was an actual book. And so I would get it from Arbitron. And we, Dan and I, there were times at the very beginning we didn't rate at all, right? Which is normal for a startup station and a startup show. And it's a flawed system, and it still is a flawed system. But then, we gradually started to go up in ratings and rankings. And we would always finish somewhere, at least for a year or so, in the mid-teens. And then I got a ratings book, and I immediately went to the mid-teens to see, okay, we're in our normal spot, 12, 11, 14, whatever it was. And I didn't see us there. And I'm like, oh, shit, man. Are we going the other way here? And so I started, rather than, going up to the top 10 to see if we were there, I went the other way. Okay?
Much like you negotiated.
Yes, exactly. So I went the other way. And I didn't see our name. I didn't see the name of the show. So it's like 20, 21, 22, 23. I'm like, oh, we had a bad book. This is bad. This is bad. And then I decided, you know what? Have some confidence and have some faith and check the top 10. And so I started scrolling down or looking down the other way. And it wasn't 5 or 4 or 3 or 2. It was number 1. And the number was massive. And like I fell out of my chair, right? Because A, it was great for me and Dan. B, it was really great for our radio station as a whole to have a show like that. And so I remember I took a moment, I enjoyed it, I closed it out, I opened it up again just to make sure what I saw was accurate. And what I saw was completely accurate. And I remember calling Dan and saying, hey, we got the number one show, man, 25 to 54 in the Miami Fort Lauderdale market. And he was really pleased, shocked, but pleased. I was also pleased. And so I think right then and there is when I knew that we were on to something, because it's hard. Radio's hard. And to beat a Hank Goldberg or Jim Mandich or people who have been doing this for 15 to 20 years, when all they did was crush you in the first couple of years and say, sissy boy radio, this is never going to happen. These guys are terrible. They're horrible. They don't talk about sports. To see how much the audience responded to our kind of show, our brand, and what it is we were doing with actual proof, with data in front of me. Number one, men 25 to 54. I knew we were onto something right there.
Very cool. And one last question. Did you ever use Newbag personally?
No. I promoted the hell out of it, though. I mean,
what percentage of sponsors have you used personally?
Simply Safe is certainly one of them. It's a good question. It's a totally fair question. Lauderdale BMW for years. Remember, I did those. Like, I don't know how far all of you go back. Okay,
Floyd in Sales.
Yeah, Floyd in Sales. May he rest in peace. God rest his soul. I love Floyd. He is no longer with us, but Floyd in Sales, yes. That's how you know I've used the product, when I can tell you if, I can tell you actual, information about people at the company. Trying to think what else. I actually used Nature Bee. So did Dan's mom. Dan's mom swears by Nature Bee.
So not Shiggles. That's all we need.
Fortunately, I've never had to use ZipRecruiter. I haven't needed a job in 20 years, so that's been cool. But I know they're great. BMW, Miller Lite, never Newbag. Certainly not the Dove Healer. I don't know if any of you remember that. The Dove Healer was like this thing that if you had any pain on your body, you took out like this. I don't know what it was. It was like a little square, like magnetic type, whatever it was. You would just like stick it on your body, and all the pain would go away. And so, like, they asked me to endorse it. I said, yes, we're a startup radio station. They wanted to spend money, but I never used it. And so I would say but this is going to surprise most of you. I would say 70 to 80% of the stuff that I've endorsed, I've used at some point. I'm not saying I still use it, but I've used it.
Well, that's because you got it for free and you tried it.
100%.
Okay.
Yes,
there's
except
no
the car.
way
I did not get the car for free.
There's no way
BMW
any of
wasn't
you
free.
did the foreign language stuff, though.
What, the Babbel?
Yes.
No, I absolutely did. Babbel's great. I have the app right on my phone. I mean,
wow. Give us something. What language? Give us something in the language you've.
Well, it was just Spanish, but I already kind of knew it from like growing up. Like and it was like what you want me to do? Like, should I do the rest in Spanish?
Do the rest of the show.
Yeah, do it.
Hold on, Stu.
Let's play sí or no.
Stu, downloading the app does not count as using it.
No, but I did use it because I was trying to teach my daughter Spanish when she was taking it in high school, and so I was trying to help her out. And that was a quick way to help her out. It actually was very
ruin. Let's not ruin the sponsors here. Let's let them. Let's not press them.
Oh, I don't care. Babbel's not a sponsor. I would tell you guys the truth. I truly do not care. I'm telling you right now, the ones that I'm doing. That's what's been cool about DraftKings is they are putting things in front of me that I actually use. Like, so the stuff that I'm endorsing now, whether it's Miller Lite or Simply Safe or stuff like that. That's stuff like Simply Safe I've had in my house for years now, the security system. But I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. I use Babbel for one reason and one reason only: to learn Spanish, to help teach my child how to speak Spanish and pass her class. But I do have the app, and you're right. Downloading the app does not mean that you have used the actual product, because I have plenty of apps on my phone right now. Too many apps. I've never used fucking any of them. Not one. And so I'm just looking through. I'm trying to find the Babbel app for you right now.
Well, I'm glad
you guys have too many apps. Like, what do you?
I think everybody has too many apps, right? If you have more than 5 apps, you have too many apps.
Steal that as a topic if you want.
I have like 55 apps, man.
Top 10. We'll do a top 10 apps on Stugatz's phone at the end of this and give him time thinking about it. So one of my favorite things is the reservation dinner, and I've always wondered what's like the one thing that you like the lowest moment you've used your name or platform for to try to get hooked. Like you look back and like, why did I just use this moment for this one
Babbel.
Oh,
Stugatz was right.
Holy
so
shit.
Listen, at this point in my career, I would tell you guys, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you if I don't use a sponsor, if I use a sponsor. I am sorry. I totally interrupted that question. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. It was the perfect timing to interrupt it. I appreciate it.
What was the question, though? I forget.
What's the worst thing that you've used your platform to get something on? The reservation dinners are great, but what's the worst thing if you thought it's like, I actually wasted using my platform just to obtain this?
I mean, listen, the platform, I think it was Kornheiser who said the reason you get into radio is for good parking spots and free stuff. And he's right. You take all the free stuff you can get. Trying to think, those reservations were fun. In fact, we have to do another one coming up in a week or so because it's my I don't want to give her age out, but it's a big birthday for my wife.
Have you ever used with the police parking ticket, the speeding ticket?
I have, but I don't regret using it with the police. I mean, I've used Levitard Dave in my platform to get out of hundreds of tickets. And so
hell yeah.
I'm good with that. I'm trying to think but you want a low moment where
I want just like the least valuable thing that you've tried to obtain by using it. But if you don't have it off the top of your head, we can.
No. I'm trying to think. It's certainly not a reservation. Like the reservation started because I actually do that. And they didn't believe me. And so I wanted them to hear what it sounds like when I did it. And then it just kind of took a life of its own. What have I used to, I used it recently to get Panther tickets. That's pretty low. I mean,
wait a second. You are with DraftKings with Metallic Media and you had to still call up somebody and say, I'm Stugatz to get Panthers tickets.
Yes. I mean, they're not free. They don't grow on trees. The team's actually good this year. And by the way, they're getting in the way of my summer. Like, can they stop winning? I mean, I'm usually into my summer like a month ago. I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't know. I have no shame, man. So whatever I've used the platform for, there was good reason I used it in the first place to get whatever it is I was trying to get. I would say a free Dove healer. That's the low of the low. Okay, the Dove healer.
Right back to the metal healing object.
Yes. That new bag. I mean,
okay, Beep. I believe that you had a question next here for Stugatz.
Yeah, I'm back. I hopefully this Wi-Fi holds on for the next half hour or so. Yeah. So since I started counting the weekend observation beeps, which was back in like 2019. I've
delightful, just by the way. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, thank you for doing it. It gives me something to look forward to on a Monday. Mm-hmm. So I've counted just over 51,000 beeps.
Right.
Okay. What has been, one or two of your most memorable weekend observations?
Oh, I mean, all the Art Briles observations.
Oh yeah.
Those were certainly good ones. Ooh, wow, you put me on the spot here. Like I almost have to go back and look at all my weekend observations.
Do you keep copious notes?
If you ask me, no, I don't keep copious notes on anything. If you ask me my best tweet, I would have had that.
Has there been any pushback from Art Briles' camp? Or
I don't care.
What is your
if
best
there
tweet?
has been, I don't give a shit. He deserves every fucking bad word I say about him. I mean,
rot in hell.
I mean, that guy should rot in hell. Seriously, to let all that
Zagacki
under his watch. All right, I'm thinking here. Just give me a second.
What was the best tweet?
The best tweet was the one where when LeBron decided to come down here, and I tweeted out that Riley just faxed the Knicks his middle finger. That was definitely yeah, like when Lebitard calls you and says, "Holy shit, that's funny," because he never does that. That's when you know you have yourself a pretty good tweet. This is going to be very funny because I'm going to go back to my last weekend observation. I actually did. I would put this in my top 5 observations of all time. Las Vegas Knights, Florida Panthers. Regardless of who wins, the Stanley Cup has a collision course with cocaine. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a
solid
really
and true
good one.
The S in Stanley, the C in Cup stands for snort cocaine. And I am concerned about Brooks Koepka. We all should be. I mean, this is the worst thing ever for him. There have been so many observations, man. They don't stick out like that. Like I spend all weekend, like the way I do them. People ask me all the time, "How do you do these?" I imagine you like I have to get to a very happy place, which I spend my entire weekend in that very happy place, and I just walk around. People think I'm crazy, like talking, like just saying these things into my phone. So like I'll be walking around in public and I'll realize like, all right, Garoppolo, fishy waiver, Tom Brady won't let Garoppolo have anything. The T in Tom stands for Thorne and Jimmy Garoppolo's side. Like that's how I'm doing it, walking around speaking into a microphone in my phone, and people think I'm crazy. So that's how they kind of come together. And then I send them to Mike, and Mike edits them and adds to them and does what Mike does. But I love doing that thing, man. I really do.
And we love it, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of of kind of along the lines of what Flem and Beep were saying about what
Flem and Beep.
Yeah. Fleep.
I love you guys.
We love you too. Big time.
I love you too.
Yeah.
He finally said it.
I love you too.
I love you.
You didn't say it back. You didn't say it back.
He didn't say it back.
He said it back.
I love you too. 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 I love you too.
All 20 hosts.
Yes.
Thank you. What's the biggest? What's one of the most memorable lies you have where you felt like, man, I really cooked on that one. Like I did a great, you were proud of yourself.
So many to
kind of the opposite of Flem's question, where you not feeling really low about the lie as much as you're feeling like, damn, I just I've told some big ones in my day, but that was that
give us one nobody knows is a lie yet.
Ooh.
Fine bucket money.
I don't believe Stu would have been there while people were actually helping move. So I think he's innocent. I refuse to believe Stu was there while they were actually packing up and moving the studio.
What, from Cleveland, Cleveland to where we are? No, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's why I trust you didn't steal the fine bucket.
All right. The biggest lie. The biggest lie.
It was a good one you told Jer Bear this week.
Well, you know what? Jer Bear was lying too, so I'm not certain. I told him that, he congratulated me. I showed it to my wife and I showed it to my child. I told Jer Bear that they started crying, and then he said he started crying, and I was lying and he was lying. And what happened was it was a couple of liars cutting it up, and so that's not the one. I think recently, within the last 2 years, it was right around the transition of Mike Ryan to Whittingham, and I went to Shoreline Amphitheater on a whim, to go see some Dead and Company shows. And I remember telling Dan some cockeyed story of, I told Mike Ryan months ago that I was going, but Mike is no longer the executive producer and Whittingham is, and Mike should have passed that along to Whittingham because that's what a good executive producer does for the new executive producer. I never told anyone I was going. I just decided on a Friday night that I was going to take a plane across the country, knowing we had shows on Monday, to go see a Saturday, Sunday, and I think Monday show at Shoreline Amphitheater. And I think this is the first time I am revealing to anyone, because I have stayed entrenched on this, both on and off the air, that I did indeed tell Mike. This is the first time I am acknowledging, not only did I not tell Mike, not only did I not tell Lebitard, I didn't tell Whittingham. I didn't tell my wife. I just bought a plane ticket and I flew across the country and I went to Shoreline Amphitheater shows and I hung out with Luke Walton and Bill Walton. Okay, look at me, Louie. And I was on stage and we had a blast and it was great. So
I thought you were hanging out with Luke Wilson and Luke Walton at the same time.
That would be that. Yeah, no.
I have two quick follow-ups.
Wow.
When we asked you the question, did you spend 2 minutes thinking about what the lie was, or if you wanted to reveal the lie here because you knew it immediately?
No, I was sifting through all the lies. Okay. That's what I was doing.
Which one?
Second is, why doesn't Billy want to be executive producer?
I have no. That's a great question. I was sifting through all the lies, not just over time, just from this week. That's what I was doing.
From today.
Yeah. What was the question? Was that a real question about Billy?
Yeah, it was. Why doesn't Billy want to be executive producer?
I'm not certain Billy doesn't want to be the executive producer. Being the executive producer of our show is hard. It is. It's difficult. Like the show requires a lot. We push our guys to do a lot. Dan really pushes them because he wants the show to be as perfect and flawless, as sloppy as it seems, as possible. But we ask a lot from our producers. We feel like we also give a lot to our producers in terms of platform and just making sure they're taken care of. But I'm not certain Billy doesn't want to do it. Billy's got a lot of responsibilities. Like he's the executive producer of God Bless Football. He's basically second in charge from a production standpoint on our show. He's got Stupidity. He hosts another show, Mystery Crate. What I'm trying to do with Billy, and I think Billy is kind of headed down the right path, is, and I think Dan and I both had this in mind when we made the move that we made, is Dan and I have been doing this for 20 plus years. And, Dan's 55, I'm 50. Dan and I have always discussed, and I don't mind telling you guys this, I don't want to be doing this like Hank Goldberg did it, where he's, 70 some odd years old and way past his prime and not keeping up with sports like he used to. Like that's not for me. Like Dan and I have always agreed, when we feel like this thing or we're not as good as we should be, that perhaps we'll step away because we don't just want to like hang on and just do it to do it. And so I think part of what we're doing here, or at least what I'm doing, is trying to develop our guys, our staff, and I should just say guys, of course, Jess as well. We're trying to develop them into host. And that's what I'm trying to do with Billy on God Bless Football and to a lesser extent on Stupidity. I think Billy is so talented. I think Billy could be such a great host. And I don't want to see Billy get stuck in in being our executive producer when I think he has so much more to offer in terms of just being a host. Like I think Billy's eventually going to be a great host. And that's what I think Billy should focus on. That's what I think he should work on. And so it's not Billy not wanting to be our executive producer. It's more that I think Billy doesn't want to get stuck being our executive producer and not being able to address some of the things that's really going to help advance his career. If you get into radio or podcasting to be a producer, I'm all for that. Some people do. But I don't see any reason to get into this industry unless you want to climb behind the microphone and give your opinions. And that's what I've always told Billy. That's what that's what you should want to do with it. That's what gives you, the much bigger salary. And I think Billy has a chance. He's smart. He's funny. He's engaging. He's quirky. And I think Billy has a bright future doing that. So that's where I'm trying to take Billy. I don't think it's Billy not wanting to be the executive producer. I think it's Billy wanting to be a host,
Yeah. And well, speaking of Billy and God Bless Football and football in general, Ant had a question about the Jets.
Yeah.
So I've actually got two questions. I'm going to take it back for a second. Big or middle finger? Riley to the Knicks or Belichick to the Jets when the way they left? Because I'm a fellow Knick and Jet fan like you are. So
Belichick to the Jets.
Okay.
I mean the Riley one hurt, but we had Belichick for a day, man. We had Riley a day. A half a day before he decided this ain't for me. I mean, that is a lousy organization. I love my Jets, but it's lousy. At least the Knicks had Riley, and we went to the NBA Finals, and we had a chance when Jordan took those 2 years off, and we had those legendary matchups in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I got to experience Riley for a while, and he could never get it done. And you could blame Pat, you could blame the team or whomever. But that didn't hurt nearly as much because I don't know if you guys kind of remember, Belichick was always thought of as the next big thing in the NFL because he was sitting by Parcells' side for so long, and everyone figured some of that had to rub off, and Parcells would always give him credit. He would say, Bill's the reason we're doing this. Bill's the reason. And so I was excited to have that guy as my head coach. And then for him to decide a half a day into his tenure that he no longer wanted to be the Jets head coach and go to Boston of all cities, that one hurt. Miami didn't hurt. It was a startup organization. You left the Knicks, got the president's job, probably got some ownership. That didn't hurt. I understood that. Belichick leaving New York for New England. Oof. That one stays with me, man.
Well, thank you. And now to your fandom for a second. What are your realistic expectations for the Jets this season with Rodgers?
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl win or Super Bowl getting to the Super Bowl?
Get to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'll take it. Like, I've been a fan of this team for 40 years. They've had 36 quarterbacks. You guys know what that means, right? When you have 36 quarterbacks, you know what it means?
You won't have any.
Yeah,
You've never had one.
None.
Richard Todd, Chad Pennington, Shula. Yeah.
Yes. Like, you don't get Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, you don't go and do that. You certainly don't go get his friend Randall Cobb and search, scour the entire world for Mercedes Lewis to not win a Super Bowl. Like, that's it. You get Aaron Rodgers to win, at least make a Super Bowl. And so I would say the expectation for a team that was pretty good without him last year, the expectation is they were game under 500. Yeah, they should make the Super Bowl with that roster. Like, that roster is good enough with him to make the Super Bowl. I don't know if they will. And it concerns me that he hasn't practiced yet, a full practice. But that should be the expectation when you get. He's the greatest passer I've ever seen, him and Marino. So, I would take just getting to a Super Bowl. 40 years, I've never seen my team in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I just want to see it once. That's all.
I agree. I wasn't around in '69, and so I'm in a similar boat. A little younger than you, but in a similar boat. Did you wish
Namath a happy 80th birthday the other day?
Yes, on Twitter to get no response. But hey,
exactly. The most overrated quarterback in NFL history has no business being in the Hall of Fame.
But as Kornheiser says, we as a franchise have one thing in our career. It's him doing this. That's it. That's all we got.
That's it. That the guarantee. Yep. Yeah, and that the guarantee and the butt fumble. I mean, that's
Tebow, save us.
Tebow. You know what? The best thing about Aaron Rodgers and getting him is, the last, I don't know, how long has he been there? Like a month? It's the only month since it's happened that I haven't woken up and the first thing I thought of was the butt fumble. Like, it's like, I don't think about it anymore. I'm almost proud to be a Jet fan. I'm not there yet, but I'm almost proud to be a Jets fan.
Well, I agree with your stance. I agree that Super Bowl or bust. I fear Mahomes in the AFC title game, but otherwise, I agree with you. I think it's got to be Super Bowl, given all that we spent for Rodgers and his friends.
Isn't it funny? We finally get a quarterback and we're not certain. Like, he might not be in the top 10 in his own conference. Like,
it's insane. The AFC is just Lulu when it comes to quarterbacks right now.
It's great. Listen, like Lamar Jackson, you left him out. I mean, we're not even Tua. It's like,
Burrow, Burrow just wins. Doesn't matter what happens.
Best quarterback in the NFL.
All right, I'm downgrading my expectation. Just wild card, okay?
Or bust.
Yes, wild card.
Thank you, Stu.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of getting a little Lulu, Lou, you had a question here for Stu Gotts.
Well done. Whoever did that was so well done. What a transition.
Stu, it's good. It's good to see you again.
How are you?
I'm great. I would just like to say first, thank you. Because ever since I found the Levitard show randomly scanning AM channels and I heard Stu Gotts come on, I was like, this is my type of guy. Like, I like this guy. And I was like, there's a lane for someone like this. And I was excited. And you've really helped my inner Stu Gotts come out. So
that's awesome.
I still have this business proposition. I've been trying to pitch to you for years and you keep turning me down. But the personal record book is made, man. It's ready to go.
You sent me a copy, didn't you?
I did. I have millions of copies to everybody.
Right. How do I handle this? Because I am nearly done with the actual book. Like, I'm not making this shit up. Like I'm nearly done.
80-20 Lou's way.
And by nearly done, what I did is I took Lou's book, I inserted into a much nicer book cover, and I sent it out to publishers, and man, do they love it. So, I mean, Lou, I'll keep you. No, I'm joking. But I'm getting dangerously close to being done with it. I'm excited about it. I didn't realize writing a book, even one as stupid as the one I'm writing, was so difficult to write. But I got a ghostwriter. Not you, Lou. I'm sorry. I do appreciate.
Well, I just stole everything from Reddit. So,
well, listen,
that's not a good thing.
The Stugatz is strong in you. Okay, but we are close, and we actually have. It's. I don't know if it's the offer we're going to go with, but we have an offer from a legitimate, a great publishing company, and I have an actual literary agent, which I can't believe I'm saying that.
If you want a non-legitimate company, you got Lou.
You have to send back a signed copy to Lou. You have to return the favor at least.
I will send Lou many of the real book or his book.
Well, both. Since you're not using the one he sent you, there's 0% chance you have the one he sent you.
And
100% I have it. No, I have
do.
it.
Wow.
Yes, it was like I don't want to say it was flimsy, but it came like it felt like it was homemade. Right. No, I appreciated it. I really did. I have it. You sent me like 5 copies, and I do have it somewhere in this office. It was a little thin, though. I mean,
well, that's because the whole end of the book is just so people can write in your personal record book, so you don't have to do any more work. So you can just write it in.
So what we tried to do, but I will tell you, I will autograph a copy of that one for you, and I will autograph a copy of the actual personal record book. I'm really excited about it, but what I realized it couldn't just be my opinions in my personal record book. Like, we had to get some other elements involved in it. And I learned this through Levitard and some other people and my agent and all this. So we have actual people that I'm writing about, and that's what's kind of delaying it. I am giving them an open forum and open page to just take a sledgehammer to me, in my opinion, as a rebuttal. And so, like, I desperately want Kevin Durant to just take a flamethrower to me and tell me that he's won 2 rings when I'm telling the world that in my personal record book he doesn't have any. So that's kind of where we're at with it. I don't know if Durant will ever do it, but we're certainly, we're efforting to make that happen. And so we're getting pretty close to having it done, and I'm excited about it. I really am. But I do appreciate your efforts, man. I will autograph a copy for you.
No way in hell you're getting
charge you for it with the autograph. Okay.
Here's my question. I want to know when John Wiener became Stugatz. What was the moment when you realized, oh, this Stugatz thing is when it realized that, oh, I'm Stugatz?
It's like it's always been there, right? Like, this is who I am. So it's like it's always been somewhere. It's always been there. Like, this is not. It's an exaggerated version of who I am, what you hear on the air. But it's pretty damn close. I would say, so when I was telling you guys earlier, the first year of the show was me driving it, and it felt like me interviewing Dan. It wasn't until Dan took hold of the show, started driving the show, which freed me up to just kind of dance around whatever it was Dan was saying and try to go off on tangents and take it in different directions. That freed up, because driving the show and co-hosting the show are 2 very different things. So you guys know, like, when Dan's out and I'm driving, it's hard for this to come out because I have to think about so many other facets of the show and getting everyone involved. All the stuff, it's work. Dan's not there. And when it became something that didn't feel like work to me, and I just had to listen occasionally and respond to what it was Dan was saying. So it was a combination of that and Mark Hochman, who was like, when Hoch took over the show, he was like, and he knew me very well, got to know me very well. He's like, yo, your personality is so funny, man. Just let it flow. Like, let it come out of you. Don't hold back. And Hoch really gave me the confidence to do that. And then, like anything in life, it was kind of confirmed by the ratings. And okay, like you said earlier, oh, there's a lane for someone like this. And for me, I was like, oh shit, there's a lane for someone like me. And that was a really That was a really cool moment. So I would say with Dan driving the show and Hawk taking over the show, and Hawk really because I trust Hawk, but Hawk getting me to a point where I was really comfortable to reveal, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm all about. And if I do those things that he wanted me to do, we therefore would have a very successful show. And I started doing them, and then we had success. I was like, okay, this is it. And then it took a life of its own. So
excellent. All right.
That was the best question yet. Whoever asked that.
It was me, Lou. Come on.
Yes, Lou. Good question.
Lou Gotts.
Lou, you should run with that. Lou Gotts.
Follow me on Twitter and I will.
So listen, I tell Chris Cody that there is a lane for this, and Stugatz is not going to be around for long. Okay. And so I have told Chris Cody this for years. I'm proud of him because he's filling the lane, right? Mm-hmm. There has to be a next Stugatz. And I think Chris Cody is perfect for the next Stugatz. I will also tell you a quick story. This is kind of what I knew the character was right. Is a friend of mine in the industry was sitting around. They were talking about various shows at their radio station. And one of the shows that came up was not doing very well in the ratings. And the program director blurted out, what that show needs is a Stugatz. And so all of a sudden I became a job position. It's like, we need a Stugatz. We need a Stugatz. We need a Stugatz. And my friend called me and said, my PD just said, hey, what this show needs is you, or someone like you. And you just got to be super comfortable, I guess, and confident to an extent to let that come out of you and not be ashamed of it, right? Because I don't care. What I care about is that we produce a great radio show for you guys every day and for ourselves. And how we get to that doesn't really, I don't care how we get to it as long as we get to it. If we get to it by making fun of me, if we get to it because I'm not listening, if we get to it because I've said something stupid, then so be it. Sometimes that's the way we get there. Sometimes we get there because Dan's a genius, or Dan has a great take, or we've had great guests. And sometimes it's a combination of everything. But we've never cared how we get to the great show as long as we produce a great show. And so those are kind of it's Dan driving the show and Hawk giving me the confidence to take, because I was the GM at the time. And so I was really concerned about being this dope on the radio and how our clients would experience the vice president and general manager being a complete ass and an asshole on the radio. But it turned out great. It worked out great. And I give Hawk and Dan, a large amount of that credit.
Is there someone like that, maybe outside of or inside of Meadowlark in the podcast or sports radio game that you think is kind of a fresh and unique personality out there now that is its own new lane or character?
I think Jess is super talented. I don't know how you guys feel about her. I think she's insanely talented. I think she's smart. I think she's engaging. I think she's funny. I'm trying to think of new. I mean, Billy's unique. That's why I was saying earlier. Yeah, Billy's I've never heard someone. Billy's mind goes in 1,000 different directions, man, all at one time. And somehow he's able to bottle it all up and deliver you something. It might take him 28 minutes to get there. But man, it usually pays off. That's a unique talent. Billy's, to me, is a super unique talent. Trying to think of some other people. Jess has been great. I love Charlotte on our show. Trying to think of people outside. I was going to say the part of my take guys, but they've been around for so long and they're kind of doing what we did, and they acknowledge that. They've taken a lot of our elements and incorporated it. And I don't mind that. Shit, man. I've stolen so much shit from other people. They could steal it from us.
When are you going to return Ryan Rossello's voicemail?
Oh, never. Never. Mikey C is a unique talent. There are tons of unique talents out there that either A, don't have the opportunity, or B, you never really get to see their true talent because they're not working in an environment that allows them to show what their talents are and who they really are. And they're not working with someone like Dan who lets those things kind of come out, So there's a lot of untapped. That's why Mikey C became the character he became on our show, simply because of my involvement with this show and just letting things breathe. And yeah, it's okay to have someone who comes on and the only thing we talk about is him smoking cigarettes. Like, it's funny.
And the second floor at the gym. And
so I'm not really answering your question. I think Bomani's a unique talent, but he's been around for a long, long time. I would say Billy right now for me is a guy, and that's why I'm pushing him so much to be a host, because I just see a lot of talent there, and it's crazy talent, but if he could bottle it up, man, he's got something going,
Mm-hmm. Morgan, did you had a question here for Stu?
Yeah, I had a few.
Hi, Morgan.
In regards to being lied to, one of my life highlights was being lied to by Stu. The day that we went and visited the studio after Moss.
Well, what happened?
Well, you lied to me.
Well, yeah, of course I did. Yeah. Won't be the first time, by the way, and it won't be the last. I mean, it wasn't the first, it won't be the last. Whatever I'm trying to say. It's my 8th show I've done today.
You opened the door of the studio and you're like, Morgan, you're my highlight of Moss. I was like, you're a liar. Brilliant.
At the time, I meant it, though.
Yeah, Christmas was really pissed off, too. That was great.
I do wonder to myself, why do I feel the need to do some of the things that I did?
Like, it's so unnecessary. You could have just said hello.
Like Jeremy Taché wrote me a very nice text, just congratulating me. I could have left it at okay. I had to come back at him with it made my wife and daughter cry. I mean, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. If it did, he didn't need to know about it. It's like, and I know I'm setting myself up for like, I'm going to get ripped on the show when I do that stuff. And Jeremy was right to call me out. I'm sorry I did that.
He's so gentle and sweet.
Yeah.
For some reason, Stu, real quick, Morgan, I just want to add to you being lied to. Stu, for some reason, was honest with me and gave me his personal cell phone number at Moss.
I did.
I still don't know why. You were very loaded when you did. So do I have like a sober Stu or a more sober Stu's permission to text you every once in a while?
Every once in a while, yes.
Okay, all right.
In your defense, and I'm proud of you, you have not abused it at all. Like if roles reversed, I would have called you like 30 minutes later.
Listen, buddy. He did check with Dan that it was your number. Like we did fact check that it was yours because we didn't believe you at all.
No, it's mine. Dan, I gave him my number. I remember giving him my number, and yes, you can use it on occasion. Okay. Cool. Let's figure out a quota. Let's do that. What do you think? Okay. Once a month, you can text me. Okay.
Okay. All right. That's higher than I was expecting, so I'll take that. I appreciate it.
Okay. Now, if you text me twice in a month, that means you have to go another month without texting me. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Hope you like Freebird.
Don't use all 12. Okay. You get 12 a year, right? Okay. Because then I'll block you. I know how to do that, believe it or not. Okay.
All right. You got
I block Levitor, so I can block you.
Yeah, but still, he can give. There's 30 of us. He can just pass it around.
Oh shit! Don't you? Now you do that, we're in trouble. I change numbers. That's it. That's the end.
That's too much work.
You can't do that.
No, you won't.
Well, he won't do it.
I've never given my number out. I don't know what made me do that night. Well, I do.
It was the weed.
That smile. It's that smile.
It's William's beautiful smile, guaranteed.
It was the weed. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
for once.
And that.
No, it was. It was absolutely the weed. Yes.
Beep. What did you want to say here before we throw it to Lour?
Can I have my question now that you've all interrupted me? Shut up.
I mean, I thought your question was telling us that Stu said you were the highlight of his day.
Yeah.
Go ahead with your question.
There really wasn't a question there. She just wanted.
It wasn't a question. So
you've been holding on to that for a while now, Morgan. Exactly. I can tell.
I've been annoyed for the whole time.
You got to let it go. I love the. Is that a quarter deck? Is that a Flanagan you're drinking out of right now?
Of course it is.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I've got a Flanagan's cup, and I've got a Guzman Gomez breakfast burrito.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That I saved specifically for
amazing.
now.
Look at you. How good is that place, by the way?
It's so good. Your friends are never there. That's a lie.
They have 90,000 locations. I'm sorry.
I know. You told me to go and ask for them. There's 76 locations in my state.
Find the one they're at. I mean, what can I tell you?
I'm getting to it. So I have a question. One of the highlights of last year was God Bless Football. For me, really enjoyed you not knowing much about football and talking about it for the World Cup. Any chance that the Women's World Cup would get some coverage this year?
Same thing. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do God Bless Football again.
Then I have a proposition for you.
Yes.
It just so happens to be in my neck of the woods. And you might need a correspondent that could be on the ground. You never know.
Boots on the ground? Is that what you're saying?
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, well, I'm here. It's here. I'm here.
Are you asking me right now if you could be a part of God Bless Football for the Women's World Cup?
Of course she is.
Yeah.
And you respect
that a girl, Morgan.
Wait, guys, but this is where I get into trouble. Where
Billy
I'm going
would
to say
say
yes, and then Billy's going to get mad at me because I've said yes without asking Billy first. Okay,
she's your favorite.
Billy will be okay.
She was at the time that I said she was my favorite. And she is my favorite.
Second me?
Close second. Yeah, very close second.
Christmas is second.
Christmas is always first.
Christmas is always second.
Fourth.
But I sent you the God Bless Football hats.
No one cares.
I died on Stu's podcast.
Hey, he's letting us. Don't let him slip out of this, y'all. It's a yes or no answer.
Oh.
Yes. The answer is yes.
That's laugh out loud.
Morgan,
funny.
just text Billy and say Stu said
podcast.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, Morgan.
It's
Stu
a
Gots or
yes.
Stu Knots? Let's go.
Because Morgan, I'm conditioned to say yes, even if I don't mean it.
You're going to lie to me again.
It's less work for you.
No, but then I hang up and then I call Billy and I say Morgan's a part of God Bless Football. And then Billy unleashes on me because I didn't clear it with him. You have to ask Billy. I know you have access to Billy.
I sent him the link.
This is what I'm going to do.
I sent him the link.
This is what I'm
Just
going to
say
do.
yes, and then tell Billy she's lying.
This
that
is
you
what I'm
didn't
gonna
say
do.
it.
I'm gonna say, listen.
I've lied to Billy before.
There's a voting system. Of course you have. I mean, and Billy's lied to you before, just so you know.
I never got locked in my garage.
Listen to me. This is a vote, okay? It's democracy. All right? I have a vote. Billy has a vote. So I vote yes, and now it's on Billy.
Stu Gots. He voted Stu Gots. Play a little Stu Gots, Stu Knots, and Billy.
We'll reach out to Mikey A.
No, Mikey A does not have a vote here. Don't you do that. Pin it on Billy. I want Mikey A would normally have a vote. I want Billy to have to decide this, okay? Mikey A votes no, so now it's up to Billy, okay?
Mikey A would never vote no. That's a lie.
I'm telling you, he just sent me a text. He did. He voted no. So ask Billy, and if he just see what he says, okay? I don't want that kind of heat or pressure, Morgan.
God bless Billy.
Yeah. God bless Billy is right.
That was the weakest answer to a question, Stu.
I mean, I gave you a yes, and now you got to clear it with Billy, you know?
Just lie. Doesn't matter. It's 3 a.m. I don't remember.
Give me your soccer bona fides. Go ahead.
I'm in Australia and it's in Australia. Who cares?
Done.
Boom.
You're close to it.
I'm right here. I'll be
Close
outside
to the
ground.
action.
Belly
That's
of
good
the
enough for
storm.
me. Yeah. Sold.
Oh, and I've got a sponsor.
Oh, now you're definitely in.
Yeah, I already sorted that bit out.
Done. Who's the sponsor?
Shades and giggles.
I mean, they sponsor everything. I mean,
I know.
Hell yeah.
Except us.
that's Chris Cody's fault. He's taking all their money. I mean, what do you want?
Babble.
All right, Morgan, my vote's yes. Mikey A, no. You have to. We'll ask
Mike,
Billy.
yes. Easy. I mean, I bought Billy's baby carrier. I'm in.
I'm getting a text from Billy right now.
Okay, well, since Beep fell off here, Lou.
Also, can I just say that Pam and I could never get a text message quite up.
What did Billy say?
Billy sent me a text. It had nothing to do with this, by the way.
Okay.
It was just something. He was sending me something.
It'd be weird if it did.
You want to reveal it? Do you want to do a big? Okay, no.
Let's do it.
Are you still
Lou,
talking to those idiots? He said.
You wanted
No,
to
I'm
bring
not
up a hat
revealing Billy's
situation.
text. I can't do that. It was about something else. Go ahead.
Oh,
Well, Stu, I think we're coming to the end because you've been awesome answering all of our questions. This is a highlight for most of us. It's awesome that everybody on the show. My internet's staying stable, Morgan, so it's all right. Let me go.
Because you're not home.
I know I'm not home. So, student,
What time do we start this thing? Because I was told it was going to be like 20 minutes. I mean, I feel like I've been doing this for 4 hours. I mean,
We started this at 10:06, so it's 10:26 right now. So we're good.
We started at 2:15 a.m.
We all stretched the truth a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. Listen, I tell Chris Sims I'll take 15 minutes and I take 45 minutes every single week. So I'm good with it. I'd like to do this again if you guys don't mind.
Absolutely.
Here's your answer, Flem. Biggest lies ever told.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
We are in. A little home and home.
Whenever.
We'll all come to the new studio.
Home and home. Can you imagine if I walked in with all you guys to Levitard?
Would love
it. We don't have any room left in that place, man.
We just
I would like to do this again.
Just put us in the penalty box. Will this all stand in the penalty box?
Yeah, we're just coming for the Pringles.
That would be funny.
We will absolutely do it again, but we still have to make sure Lou gives you the proper exit before we get there.
Well, there's all in like at the same time too. You know, if you ever like need content or whatever, we're just gonna send these. We'll just have these guys on. You know, a little zoom with the Lour after hour people, and then there you go.
I mean, Billy and I love doing zoom. We like to interact. I know we don't do it as much, but we really do, especially me and Billy. I think interacting with our listeners, like that's what I miss the most about the live radio show. The high wire act of doing it live, the spontaneity of doing it live, the interaction with callers from doing it live, like all that stuff is, when I started out, all I wanted to do was live radio, sports radio. And now it's turned into this and podcasting and recording. And, Dan and I are taping things and we have no idea when they're airing, where they're airing, what day they're airing. It's like, and like, I heard something the other day and I'm like, I swear Dan and I taped that 3 weeks ago. And it was on our show like 2 days ago. And so, while I enjoy it, I miss the element of live radio because I miss interacting with you guys. So that's why Billy and I decided to do Zoom. And I'm telling you, I will come back on again. I'm thinking the 1000th episode. Is that
no chance
500 episodes from that, which should be about 2.5 weeks, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Sure. We'll get our groups on it, our teams.
How about this? I'll make you a deal. I don't want to overextend myself. Once a quarter, 4 times a year, I will join you guys.
Okay.
Because I am so grateful and so much appreciate what it is you guys are doing. And I appreciate how much you care about us and our show. So the least I could do for this crew is once every 3 months, okay, is join you guys. It won't be for an hour and 15 minutes like today.
That's fine.
But I will make an appearance on the show.
Done.
We love
Okay.
This is your next greatest lie.
Thank you, Stu.
Well, that's why I did it. So next time you ask me my greatest lie, I could say it was this one. Okay.
Thank you, Stu.
Thank you, Stu. Thank you, Stu. Gracias, Stu. Thank you, Stu. Lou?
So, Stu, normally I'm doing this, like you said, in my shop is normally when I do it. And so normally I'm creating a custom hat for our guests. But I was at the beach for this and we just found out last minute. So I wasn't able to create a custom hat for you. So I can create a custom hat for you if you have one, or I can send you one of these custom Lou Gehrig ALS hats if you would like. And you can have that instead. But if you want one of those, or if you have something like we can do a national championship dad, anything that you want, you can just send to me and I can create you your own personal custom hat as a thank you from the Lour After Hours for joining us and just being a part of our show.
Whatever hat. I want a new bag hat. That's what I want. I want a new bag hat. I want a Dove Healer hat. No,
Dove Healer hat?
Yeah, whatever hat you sent me. The fact that you don't have a custom made hat for me, now the deal's off. Now I will only join you once. I'm joking. Once a quarter. Okay, and send me whatever hat you want. I'm good. I got tons of hats, so I'm fine with whatever you sent me. Did you make the God Bless Football hat? Who made that? Anyone here?
That's me. Yeah, that's me. Lou Gotts.
All right, Lou, I got to do something for you, man. I got to autograph a book, your book.
You're gonna give him a T-shirt.
Yes.
He sent you a printer, a fridge.
Lou, whatever hat you send, and you don't have to send me anything, to be quite honest with you, but you could send me whatever hat you want to send me. Okay.
Gotcha, man.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stu.
Thank you, Stu. Thank you, Stu. Thank you, Stu.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow.
Talk to you more.
God bless football.
Guys, that was fun for real.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much.
We really
Great. I was happy to do it. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry it took so long.
No. We're honestly waiting to get to
okay.
this episode. So
I'm sorry it took 500 episodes to get me on. Lou, what do we have to do to get Levitard on? What do you want me to do?
Ooh.
Just ask them like, hey, the Lour After Hours wants you on.
They're not as scary as you think they are.
Just tell them, hey, you need to come on this podcast because they're great. They're awesome. They're the best.
Each of us has like personal traumas too. So if he wants to make us all cry,
we got
like
so much
South
grief.
Beach session,
We got so much grief.
like tell him there's a lot of grief.
My
here
dad
that
was
he
a
can
Knicks
feast
fan.
on. Tons of grief.
He's an expert.
We're like
at that.
all the broken people.
I think this is what I'll go for. In one of my 4 appearances, and I got to run here in a second, I will we'll start here. I think it's a good way to do it. Bring me and Dan on together because he'll be more comfortable if I'm here with him.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. Yeah.
We would love
I'm not guaranteeing that he will. I'm saying I will try. And then once we have him, once you get him on, once you get him into the Zoom, perhaps he'll be more comfortable to do it, by himself at a later date.
We would love that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're the
Stu.
man, Stu. We
Thank
appreciate
you guys.
it.
Dan's not terribly comfortable in a lot of these environments. Around
Yeah,
people.
but that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's the
Oh,
most
goodness.
Billy's Hold on a second.
Morgan's going to get it.
All right, I'm leaving, so I'm glad Billy's here.
Welcome to the 500th episode, Billy. Glad to have you.
We'll tell you everything you
501
guys
now.
promised us.
Stugotz, you made it, huh?
Yes,
I
you
did. Billy, they told me in typical Stugotz fashion, 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops. It's been an hour and 15 minutes.
I've been down this path before because the first time I was on, they're like, do you have a time you need to be out by? I'm like, no, as much time as you guys want. And I was there for 2 hours and it was like 11 o'clock at night. And my wife was like, can we go to sleep? And I was like, yeah, I'm almost done, but I don't want to like just hang up. It's rude.
Right. Well, I did. I just told them it's over.
It's over. Goodbye.
He's coming on 4 times a year.
Yeah.
I did agree to that. Yeah, I did. I agreed to
That's
that.
not that's not all he agreed to, Billy.
Morgan's got
Once
a question.
quarter. Oh, wait. Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay.
Let's just get out the way, Morgan.
Sorry.
Go.
Sorry, the Women's World Cup's coming up, and I mentioned to Stu that maybe God Bless Football could make a return. And it just so happens to be in Australia. And so do I. So maybe you could do with like a correspondent on the ground.
So, Billy, just to give you a quick update, I told her it's a democracy on that show. That Mikey A voted no, I voted yes, and Billy's the
When did this vote happen? When did this vote happen?
In the last
on the
5
fly?
minutes.
On the fly.
So
Sometime in
Mikey
the
A
last
already
hour
voted?
15.
No.
Well, I brought up Mikey A because he tried to pin it on you and he just threw in no Mikey A's way.
Well, okay, so this is what I'll say is that, Stugotz, I don't know if you remember this, but not once but twice you promised Raheem Mostert that you would do God Bless Football for the Women's World Cup with his wife. And we met his wife at Radio Row, and you offered her that opportunity.
And where is she, Billy?
Well, no, I offered her an opportunity to co-host the show with us. I think Morgan's talking more about being a field reporter because she's so close to it.
Well, what I'm saying is you've already promised that this show is going to happen to people. So it
Why
may
would it not happen? I mean, they're the soccer team that actually wins around here.
Yeah, they're the good one.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do, Morgan? Do you just want to?
I think what Billy is saying is I promised Billy's involvement, and Billy might not want to be involved in it.
No, you promised Raheem Mostert's wife a job to her face.
No, and I plan on sticking to that.
You're not.
Tell her it's a democracy too.
Well, are you going to any games, Morgan?
Yes. I've got a sponsor, Billy.
Who's your sponsor?
Pits and Giggles, obviously.
Okay, so there you go, Stu guys. We don't have to pay anything, so it's only upside.
That's right in our wheelhouse.
Correct.
Yep,
it's right on budget.
Yes.
Right on budget.
I mean, listen.
I've already sent them the schedule, the budget for it.
I told her yes. I don't care if she knows anything about soccer. If it's boots on the ground and those boots are close to the action, that's good enough for me and Billy, I think.
How is everybody available at 1:30 Eastern on a Thursday to do this?
We're very important.
We're delinquents.
Yeah.
School just got out.
Rescheduled a meeting.
So I got summer breaks.
I may
see
have canceled 2 calls today.
Half of you are at work, I can see.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Rescheduled.
I'm my own boss.
I'm a stay-at-home dad.
I'm actually not at work.
Well,
for
that's
once.
a job.
It's 3:30 in the morning.
What
Billy,
is
the
that
city of
baseball
Cartersville
court
is
behind
crumbling
you?
while I'm doing this.
Chico Escuela.
What are you, a cop? What's up with all these questions?
That is an amazing background, Billy. You see that?
Who's watching your children if you're a stay-at-home dad?
Oh, they're at daycare in school.
He sold them to
He takes
the
them to
gypsies.
daycare.
How much did you get for him?
Got that background.
You sold his kids.
They eat in Canada though, so exchange rate.
So is Billy taking over the Zoom? Because I'm leaving
you
it.
can head out, Stu.
Yeah, see
I'm sure
Stu.
Billy doesn't
We'll
want to
talk to Billy.
I wasn't
We'll
even
spend 2 hours
invited.
with
I just joined.
You were invited. I invited you.
I will tell you that Billy's done like 7 shows today, and I think we probably have something else to do later.
No, we're not going to hold Billy here. We all have to get back to work anyways.
Who else have you spoken to? Is this like a thing that you're doing like over some period of time?
It was just Stu.
Oh wow, Stu, you got your own episode 500.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. I told him that's 2 weeks for us. 500 episodes.
We have like 4 stupidities coming out just this week.
Just this week. Billy's tired.
Yeah.
Not easy, Billy. Not easy.
Thank you, Billy.
You guys asked me earlier why Billy doesn't be the executive producer. Look at him.
He left before you. Bye. Good stuff,
Bye,
y'all.
friends.
All right, guys.
Bye, friends. Amazing. Oh my God.
And that's been another fantastic episode of Lour After Hours. Joining us today, we had Pamela, Ant, Lou, Mark,
Lou
Schweitz, Morgan from Australia.
That's a job.
Will.
Wait and see. Wait and see, Morgan.
Billy, Gil, thank you for your time, and thank you, Stu Gotts.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. And Mayor Matt.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Lour After Hours. You can always reach us on Twitter at Lour After Hours or Instagram at Lour After Hours. We're available wherever you get podcasts, so don't forget to download, subscribe, review, and rate 5 stars.